Brunswick sits at the end of the Kokan River, at the midway mark of the Northumberland Strait. It's a quiet Acadian community. But that all changes in early August when the tranquil waters of Kokan Bay are churned into an array of boiling rooster tails. Stay with us for the next half hour as we go to the races, the hydroplane races of the Kokan International Regatta.
Hi everyone, Paul Menu with Art Hackings. It is an event that over the last 16 years has put the tiny community of Kokan on the map.
Yes, it is, Paul. I've been coming here for 6 years myself. It's one of the events that the racers consider to be one of the top events on the circuit. And this year, especially with the new measured course, we're looking to have some world records going down the tube this weekend.
Welcome to Cocagne. I would like to introduce you the chairman of the regatta, Prix.
I'd like to wish everybody a warm welcome.
Day one at Kokan. A steady downpour has everyone running for cover. Concerns are raised at the morning drivers' meeting. Will we be able to run?
Because of the weather, we don't know when we'll be running. So we've canceled the time trial. We will not have time to run that. And he's got a new record course out here. Somebody's going to set a record. We know what times, what speeds were run last year. Somebody will set a record. I believe the record's around 98, 99, something like that. It'll be over 100 by the end of this weekend.
The vigil begins in the early afternoon. Through the onslaught of rain, the knowledgeable fans of Kokan show another admirable trait: dedication. Rain or shine, they are here for the long haul. Finally, a break on the horizon, and we'll see some Grand Prix eliminations in just a moment. Daniel Brossoit in number 11. The executive boat, he's off to a great start. Art, that seems to be his trademark.
It sure is, and it comes along with the family. His cousin, or his uncle, rather, Bruno Brossoit, who drove the boat before him, drove the same way. When he retired, Bruno gave the boat on and the tradition to Daniel, and he's carrying it on well.
Yeah, he's doing a super job for the executive team. The owner, Michel Favreau, very pleased. Daniel Brossoit off to a great start. Thundercraft had been in second place, but Richard McPherson now dead in the water. That means second place belongs to this man, Claude Campeau.
The old Lauterbach special, and these boats are slowly dying out of the scene because they just can't keep up with these executive-type boats in the cabin.
That's right, but you know that Claude Campeau is going to give it everything he has this weekend. It's Daniel Brossoit in the lead. Jack Stetzer in the Xanadu boat is now dead in the water as well. An interesting story behind Jack.
Yeah, Jack has that boat registered to his little dog, Honey Bear, for the simple reason that the dog isn't allowed in a lot of the pit areas, and they can't keep the boat owner out.
So the dog owns that boat. Jack Stetzer Xanadu, Claude Campeau being lapped here by Daniel Brossoit. Claude Campeau takes second as the other boats die out, but it's executive with a new speed record, 103.56.
Before we came here, I told my crew that if the weather is good and the water it's beautiful, we're capable of 1.8, 1.10 on that course. Now, are we going to do it, or anybody else can do it too, because you got 5 or 6 good team here who can go to the record and break the record. So far, we hold the record, but it's a matter of time that someone will beat us, and we'll try to beat him again. So it's be the end of that will be Sunday night. We'll know who's got the record.
And here they come, and Heat B on the inside. That's the number 444 boat. Jeff Richards, Valleyfield. El Bandito in the number 2 position. Intrepid with Maurice Plouffe, number 28 boat in third, and coming out the outside in fourth. That's Enterprise 2, but Art, all important, the inside lane, and Jeff Richards got it.
He's following along that 444 boat. It goes into those corners after so many years with Bob Theoret behind the wheel. It almost slides in there by itself.
And the old design Lauterbach, but is still performing well.
That's probably one of the top Lauterbach boats that's ever been run around.
Jeff Richards with a pretty comfortable looking lead, but look on the outside. Here comes Maurice Plouffe. Plouffe in second place in the high point standings. This is a very important race to him here at Kokan. Maurice Plouffe, he's behind the rooster. No, he's out in front. He's taking it.
He has. He's come right around the outside on that second turn, and he's putting it to Jeff Richards right now. And he's not going to back off at all. He's going for the final.
Oh, man, look at the distance he is putting between himself and Jeff Richards. Maurice Plouffe, if his motor holds, he should be able to take this. It's going to be difficult for Jeff, all impossible now for Jeff Richards to catch him. Maurice Plouffe, intrepid too, as he heads for the finish line. A victory for him. It'll be Jeff Richards finishing in second place in the 444 boat. What a turn that was, the first one. for Maurice Plouffe. Enterprise 2 finishes third, and Norm Phillips in El Bandito, fourth place. Here they come in Heat C of the Grand Prix. On the start, it's, look, Valleyfield once again. Who is that? Bob Theoret, of course.
That's the spot that he knows where to go, and we're talking about the inside lane. Look where he is, right on the inside.
That's a beautiful boat, that 1988.
Yeah, well, Bob calls that the old man's boat. He moved from the ladder back into the rocking chair.
And Bob Theoret going for it here. It's perfect water conditions for records. We've seen already Daniel Brossoit with one in executive, and it looks to me like Bob Theoret is going for it. Behind him, 151, the Orange Crush boat. Jim, oh, what's going on? Jimmy King's got problems.
Jimmy's got engine problems down there, and he's not going to see the tail end of Bob because he's not going to sit around. He's heading for that finish line.
Look at him go. Bob Theoret with a record 104.651, followed by Orange Crush, and it's quick too. They like this course.
Oh, the course is beautiful. The way they've got it set up now for 1.25 mile, I must say it is the best course we have on our circuit at the moment. And as a matter of fact, this is why a new world record will be set here. As a matter of fact, it is. Now it'll probably be beat again once or twice, maybe tomorrow again.
After a cold, wet day on the course, it's a relief to drivers and crew to have a good meal on the day's schedule. Kokan is taking care of supper, down east style. We're back in a moment with 2.5 liter, 5 liter, 6 and 7 liter action and the Grand Prix final. Welcome back to Kokan, New Brunswick, where the hometown fans are rooting for a boat in the 2.5 liter class called Miss Kokan, driven by a personable young man named Marc Goeguen. Let's go to the pit and meet Marc Goeguen.
When did you first get the bug to be a driver?
I had that for a long time now. I always knew that I would do it someday, but last year I think that's what really decided me. I've been saving money and trying to get sponsors and stuff like that, and we finally got ourselves organized, and here we are racing.
Fine young man, Marc Goeguen. Here we go in Heat A, 2.5 liter on the inside. It's the blue boat number 43, Jimmy, driven by Gaetan Latour.
Yep, and Gaetan is heading right into that inside spot on the corner, and with that lead and into the inside, he's going to come out at the back of the course, out in the lead.
He's looking pretty good right now. Jimmy and Gaetan Latour, all of these engines, of course, Ford Pinto, stock engines. They cannot be anything else.
No modifications to these engines at all. The only difference in the race is the driver's capability.
There's Pixie, just rushed by Miss Dartmouth and Jimmy Monahan. Pixie with Francois Cardinal on it, making his move on Jimmy. But right now, it's Gaetan Latour in the lead and looking pretty good. But here comes Pixie, as we say, making his move around that turn. It's still Jimmy.
He's going to make a run at him. And if Francois Cardinal has his way, he's going to be going right by and waving at Gaetan Latour very shortly.
You saw Gaetan Latour looking over his shoulder, but I think he was looking over the wrong shoulder, Art.
He was looking to the left, and look who's coming by on the outside.
It's Pixie with Francois Cardinal. Fast boat.
Here we go, Miss Kokan, Marc Goeguen out there for his first year of racing, and he's doing a super job.
No question about it, making his dad, JP, very proud of him. And it is the Pixie boat that is the one to watch here today. Hey, there's Marc Goeguen in a race with Dreamweaver, and he's making a move on the inside. Gutsy driver.
Charlie Smith and Marc Goeguen going at it side by side, and here we're back to the number 4 turn coming into the final stretch, and here comes right behind the Pixie heading for the finish line.
Yeah, Gaetan Latour had the race, but Francois Cardinal waves to the crowd. He says, yeah, I got it. Pixie takes Heat A in the 2.5, followed by Jimmy, Miss Dartmouth. Miss Kokan finishes in 7th place. Here's the final of the 6 and 7 liter class, big boats, and it makes for interesting racing. And on the outside, here it is, the homeboy, Eric Carruthers in CJ90.
Eric's coming out on the outside, and he really overtook Bob Abbott. He's coming into that number 1 turn, and he was awful close going in there, Paul.
Yeah, Bob Abbott in the hotshot boat looked like he had the start, and Eric Carruthers takes him on the outside, which you don't see very often. Usually you get the inside and you hang on to it. Eric Carruthers, as we say, from Rexton, New Brunswick, renowned family throughout the boat building industry. His brother Steve has made some wonderful boats.
Yeah, they make some of the better 2.5 liter boats on the circuit. And one of the Carruthers trademarks is that outside line. Most of the drivers like the inside, but the Carruthers race way wide and keep the throttle in those boats all the time.
Eric Carruthers having a big race here before the hometown crowd. Fans cheering him on as he rounds the corner heading into the 2nd turn.
Eric Carruthers with the CJ90 boat. Also in this race, Project 7 and Denny Charrette from Montreal. Guy Doran, Broubouf, Pierre Villeneuve in the tradition boat. And a long shot, we say, Bob Abbott, who had almost a run in there with Eric Carruthers in the CJ90 boat. There's Eric looking over his shoulder.
He's looking for Bob. He knew he was out in front of him before, and he's behind him now. And he figures he's got to be somewhere, but he can't see him.
There it is, Eric Carruthers in CJ90 takes the 6 and 7 liter final. Something to cheer about here in Kokan. He waves to the crowd. A big day, Project 7, second place boat. Wait, over at the judges' stand, there seems to be some discussion.
Yeah, there's a major discussion going on there with the judges and the referee.
There it is, CJ90's been disqualified. Project 7 takes it. We thought it was in second place. Bob Abbott, long shot, finishes third. Let's talk to Eric Carruthers.
You seemingly had a win in this final, and you get word of a disqualification. I mean, that must drive you crazy.
Yeah. But not much you can do about it. I don't know. I didn't think I cut anybody off, but they're the judges. Not much you can do about it.
The rule says that you've got to have 4 boat lengths approximately before you cut over or change your lanes, and we maybe had half a boat length when he come across me there. So I saw him coming. I took my foot out because otherwise I didn't want to go walking up the rooster tail because that does damage then.
Heat A of the Grand Prix elimination is 6 boats strong, and it looks like Alan Beauscheid and Shopsmith, the 777 boat, has the lead. On the outside, that's Bob Tourette and Valleyfield, and it looks to me, Art, like in behind him is Maurice, Plouffe, and Intrepid, just in a wash of water, about a ton of water coming down on him.
It's not a joke for poor Maurice back there. That number 28 boat just got washed. He got caught in a sandwich between the 2 rooster tails of Shopsmith and Bob Theoret.
That's Shopsmith there in the lead right now, Beauscheid, but it could be a problem, as you say, for Bob Tourette if the judges saw what we saw there. Big expectations for this boat, 777 and Shopsmith.
Yeah, he's coming back, trying to take that time back from Bob Theoret. Bob took his world record away from him, and he's out to see if he can get it back, and we just got word, Paul, that Bob has been assessed a 1-minute penalty for cutting our friend number 28 in that corner, so he's back a minute.
That's right, and Shopsmith slowing down. What's going on? It looks like Alan Beauscheid's got trouble.
That's it for Beauscheid for the afternoon. He's dead right there, and his chances of getting that world record are just gone down the tube as Bob goes by him.
Oh, what a disappointing turn of events. All the way up from Florida, Alan Beauscheid sitting, watching the rest of the race, including Claude Campeau in the Lauderback Special. Claude going to be lapped here by Bob Tourette, who you just saw in the background, but he'll always put in a good performance with that Lauderback Special. He's in it until the end. Bob Tourette appears to be finishing first, but we mentioned that 1-minute penalty, so he will finish in second place behind Maurice, Plouffe, and Intrepid 2. Claude picks up third place, but a blown blower belt did in Alan Beauscheid in the Shopsmith boat.
Well, you know, they're on borrowed time. You never know. We usually change them about every 3 or 4 heats, and it's just one of those things, you know, it gets caught up or gets a little more tension on it from the engine overheating, and it stretches it, and then the belt just goes. It's definitely a weak link, but everybody has trouble.
Maurice, what happened at the start of the race?
The thing is, Robert cut the inside too early before the corner, first corner, and he passed over me, and I must go on the outside for turn the first lap, and that is why you get a 1-minute penalty for that infraction.
At 3 boat lengths, you don't have to leave any space. Now, I did not leave space, and I didn't leave space. I just turned my corner. Somehow they felt that he was squeezed in there, and they penalized me a minute. It doesn't really change anything as far as the final is concerned. As long as I make the final, and with the record run of yesterday, I was still in the final today.
A tough competitor, that Bob Tourette, also, by the way, chairman of the Drivers Association, a natural leader. And speaking of leaders, here he is in the number 11 boat, Daniel Brossoit, executive off the start, and a good one. Mike Endres in the Niagara Challenger, giving him a challenge on the outside.
He is. Mike's coming back from a little bit of problems with his engine. They were fiddling around with that before the race, and they're out there now running for first place. We'll have to wait and see how he does.
Yeah, Valleyfield 444 we're looking at there. Jeff Richards, part of the Valleyfield team, but it's executive Daniel Brossoit. Of course, executive set a record in the first heat on Saturday. Now he's trying to get that record back because Bob Tourette took it from him in the final heat of the afternoon.
Yeah, they're playing games with that one. Beauscheid had it in Valleyfield. Bob took it away from Danielle, who took it away from Beau Schide, and now Danielle's back to get the thing back again.
Working on it anyway in rough water here today in this second heat of the Grand Prix elimination. There's Pierre Lavigne and the Thundercraft 1 boat. Daniel Brossoit still with the lead. Lavigne looking to make a move on somebody. And he is doing it now on the Lauterback boat. The Valleyfield left behind as Pierre Lavigne makes a move on the outside.
Yep, Pierre's taking that wide turn on that number 1 corner with that big boat with the big wing on the back end of it. But Daniel Brossoit is still a fair distance out in front.
And it is Executive. Daniel Brossoit taking the checkered flag. 2 fine starts for him. He finishes first, but he fails to beat the record that was set by Bob Theoret.
The wind was too strong and had a good wave on the second corner. It's not rough, but you got little wave, and when you go for a record, it's got to be perfectly smooth.
We'll see Daniel Brossoit in the final. Hey, there's the yellow flag in the Heat C as we get underway, and you're going to see why the yellow flag is out. That's the caution flag as Orange Crush jumps out to the lead. But here's the reason why we've got the caution flag. As the boats were warming up and getting ready for the flying start, we lost Richard McPherson up at the top of turn 3 there. His boat went dead in the water just before the start of the race, and that's why we had the caution flag, him waving his arms there. And it's Orange Crush that's got the lead. By the way, Richard McPherson, too bad that he's out of this race. A New Glasgow, Nova Scotia native, been living in Ontario driving for the Thundercraft.
He has, but for this one here, he's not going to be in the money, and he's not even going to be around for the end of it, as he's broken down, as you mentioned. And right out in front, we see Jimmy King in that Orange Crush boat.
Yeah, Jimmy King from New Baltimore, Michigan, fine driver and a fine boat. He's been tuning it up, working on the prop, working on the engine. As we take another look at Richard McPherson sitting there, he's far enough outside of the course that it doesn't have to be a concern. Otherwise, they would have stopped the race, of course. There's Freddie Roto, and it's quick.
Yeah, and Richard is waving his arms out there, and if you were standing in that boat, with those things coming at you at the speed they're moving, you'd be waving your arms too.
I'd be swimming for that cottage, that's what I'd be doing. That's Fred Roto again, and it's quick, but this one belongs to Orange Crush, and Jimmy King picks up 400 points. Fred Roto finishes second, everybody else dead in the water. Now it's up to Jimmy King to take it in the final.
When coming to racing on the East Coast in the salt water, it's a completely different setup, and with the changes we made in the boat earlier, we got to renew our setup for here. So the first 2 heats, we're just getting ready for the final this afternoon.
What about the final? Who do you expect to give you the most competition there?
I expect to see the Valleyfield and the Executive. And I'd say those would be the 2 runners.
We'll be back in a moment with the Grand Prix final. Welcome back to Kokan, New Brunswick. You're looking at the official flag of the Kokan International Regatta. We're ready for the GP final. Here are the guys who will be battling it out today. Orange Crush with Jimmy King aboard. It's Quick 2, GP 110 and Fred Roto. Thundercraft 2, GP 52, Pierre Lavigne in the driver's seat. Executive with Daniel Brossoit. Intrepid 2, the points leader Maurice Plouffe. Enterprise 2, GP 772 and Rejean Blanchette. Valleyfield 2 and Bob Theoret. And the first Valleyfield boat with Jeff Richards in the seat. And they're off in the GP final. What a start by Daniel Brossoit and Executive. Jimmy King and Orange Crush just on the outside, but there is Thundercraft making the tight move on the boys. He's going to take the inside, deep inside there, and it looked like Plouffe got a little water there from Bob Theoret again, but right now it's Executive and Daniel Brossoit. There's the Thundercraft boat with Pierre Lavigne aboard with that stabilizer in the back. Good in these wind and water conditions. It's Executive in the lead.
Yeah, it is, and that heavy boat of Pierre Lavigne's is going to have an advantage of some kind in this water because it's a heavier boat. That wing stabilizes it a little bit, and as you did mention, our friend Bob Theoret gave Jean-Maurice Plouffe another bath. That's twice this afternoon in that same corner.
Yeah, coming out of that second turn, though, it didn't look to me like Thundercraft was too stable, but he's got it now in the straightaway. Executive is the leader in this race. Daniel Brossoit with that superb start kind of caught, almost seemed like he caught everybody napping heading into the flying start. As we go into the top turn here at Kokan, New Brunswick, it's still Executive, and it looks like nobody can touch him. He can only hope that his engine hangs in, and he will have another 400 points under his belt. As he goes into the third turn, it's Executive and Daniel Brossoit. Jimmy King in second place with the Orange Crush boat, the number 151 boat. It's Thundercraft and Pierre Lavigne behind Orange Crush and Jimmy King, who we're looking at right now going into that third turn. Oh, Jeff Richards has had a problem. It's the 4-4 boat dead in the water, and he's waving his hands. The caution flag is flying in the air, but nobody's stopping. This race is still on.
Daniel Brossoit is out there in the lead, and as we were mentioning, that Thundercraft boat who we see coming by now making a run, he just got passed by Jimmy King. But that Thundercraft boat takes on a lot of the technology that they're using in the unlimited hydros. The wing on the back, the closed capsule for the driver, and it helps definitely in a day like we're having today with that wind and the rough water.
Jeff Richards has got the best seat in the house for this race, but I suspect as well that his heart flutters a little bit as he watches those boats come around that fourth turn, especially when they get a little water under the sponsons and start moving, just as Daniel Brossoit is doing now. He almost lost it on that turn. Daniel Brossoit, yeah, Jeff Richards, hey man, don't hit me, I'm just sitting here.
He's getting another bit of that shower, the same as Jean-Maurice Plouffe got. Only difference is he's standing up in the boat, taking the full brunt of it. But Daniel is not going to let up. He's sticking out in the front. He's got his foot into it. And Jimmy King is chasing him with that boat that he's going to be passing on to his dad next year. When the new boat comes out, Jimmy's getting the new one, and he's passing that old boat back on to father, Bob King, who's coming back into racing next year.
There's Maurice Plouffe and Intrepid, the guy who got a little bath at the start of the race, and he makes it. Oh man, there's crazy conditions down there in the water, but these guys are going for it nonetheless. There's Executive, Jimmy King, Executive, by the way. I'm talking to Michel Favreau. He's going to sell that boat. They're going to try and get a boat that's a little better suited to the heavy water conditions that you get down here in the East Coast.
Yep, here we see Danielle coming right in again, and they're really pushing that boat. The salt water down here is another thing, Paul, that gives them the extra boost that they don't get on some of the courses where they're running on the fresh water.
Yeah, well, you saw it. Executive takes it. He had it from start to finish. It's quick 2, finishes 7, but it was all Daniel Brossoit in this race as we take a look at him, wave at the crowd and replay again. Let's go down to the pits and a happy crew.
Même Charrette est incapable.
Go, Dan.
C'est bon, Dan, tu l'as fait.
Despite a slow start with difficult racing conditions, Art, we really saw some tremendous action here this weekend.
We have, and the Grand Prix boats, Paul, always put on a great show. And we've seen already the record gone down with Bob Theoret before, and the Pixie with Francois Cardinal in the 2.5 liter have also set a world record here today.
Let's recap the weekend's results. Pixie takes the 2.5 liter class, followed by Claude Bergeron in Why Not. Gaetan Latour and Gimme takes third place. In the rain and wind-shortened 5 liter class, Chris Galbraith wins it all in CE number 4. Jean Seguin in CE 961 finishes second. Alan Beauschide, who drives Shopsmith in the Grand Prix class, takes third in CE 15. Danny Charrette in Project 7 with a speed of 76.6 miles per hour finishes first in the 6 and 7 liter combined class. Bob Abbott in long shot second. Guy Dorin in Broubouf takes third. And on stage for the GB presentations, Daniel Brossoit and Executive. They win Kokan. Jimmy King, with his second place finish, moves into first place in the high points race. And Pierre Lavigne in the Thundercraft boat takes third.
You know, Paul, going into the last week of competition, there are still 7 drivers with a potential shot at the High Points Championship.
Yeah, that's right. Our Jimmy King, of course, our leader. Only 200 points between first place and third place, and only 400 points between first and seventh. So Dartmouth is going to be very, very important. Until then, Paul Meunier with Art Hacking saying so long from Kokan, New Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.